The Minnesota State Patrol says two pickups collided around noon on Saturday.
86-year-old Oliver Kimbrough of Oakley was killed. Police say the roads were icy and snow-covered at the time. Today is the day for ice anglers in Minnesota. The DNR says you need to get your ice house off the lakes in the northern third of the state. Anglers need to make sure they also clean up their trash like bait, blocking material, bottles, cans, cigarette butts, or any other trash that you might have laying around.
And after today's deadline, you can still use shelters on the ice, but they must be occupied if they're out between midnight and 1 hour before sunrise. Shelters cannot be left or stored at public access points. The U.S. Army Corps of Engineers is continuing drawdowns in the Red River Basin this week to prepare for spring snowmelt. They're working at the Homey Dam near Park River in the Northern Valley today.
Last month, the Army Corps started releasing additional water from other Red River Basin dams like the White Rock Dam and the Orwell Dam. As a result, the surrounding water levels might change with little or no warning, so you need to use caution if you're near that water. Another thing we need to warn you about this morning, some weather headed our way that's not going to be pleasant. Lisa Green has a check of your forecast on what is supposed to be the first day of spring here. Good morning, Lisa.
Yes, good morning. It is the spring equinox, meaning that we are transitioning to more daylight than nighttime as the sun's rays pass more directly overhead. And on this day, we'll see that sun pass right over the equator, the direct rays of it. And what that means for us, for our sunrises and sunsets, is that sunrise will appear to rise due east. And that's where we're looking right now on our sky cam in Fargo. A pretty sunrise starting up. A few clouds out there, but I think we'll have a nice view of that here this morning. You can check that out where you are too. A lot of places starting off with some clearing skies or just a few clouds in the mix. Here's a look at our temperatures though. You might want to watch it from inside your house because it's cold out there. We're at 2 degrees in Fargo. It feels like 12 below when we factor in even just a little bit of that north wind at 8 miles per hour. Officially, sunrise in Fargo is at 7:30 this morning. Other places a few minutes earlier to the east, a few minutes later to the west. And we'll see sunset at 7:40. And in Grand Forks, we're looking westward from East Grand Forks to downtown Grand Forks. And it's nice and quiet there too, but cold, 4 degrees, feels like 12 below right now. And sunrise there at 7:32. So right now we've got just a few passing clouds. Otherwise, it's looking really quiet. So at least the day is quiet here to start off spring and maybe to head back to school. I know a lot of students going back today after spring break. It's going to be cold out at the bus stop this morning. We're looking at temperatures in the single digits to start the day. Afternoon, we do warm up. We'll get some temperatures back into some 20s, maybe a few places in the east to around 30 degrees, but it will be running really cool compared to average this time of year, which is 39 degrees in Fargo, and we're nowhere near that here in our forecast for 3 o'clock this afternoon, with a mix of some sun and clouds out there, more sunshine than clouds, I think, today. And then, of course, Tuesday, Wednesday, that's our first alert weather day stretch here because we've got a storm system that's going to be taking a more direct line toward the valley. This one going to bring some decent chances for measurable snowfall, and some of us may get in that 6-inch range. So that's something we're watching starting tomorrow afternoon and evening, and then continuing on into Wednesday morning. There's a winter storm watch out. We'll, of course, be keeping you updated on this throughout the next couple of days. You can always check the Valley News Live weather app for the latest on it. But once that clears, we're going to be quieting things down for the end of the work week. So it's just kind of one big event this week, and then we get to relax a little bit heading into the end of the week and heading toward the weekend as well. But winter is not done with us yet, even on this first day of spring.
All we can do is soak up this beautiful sunrise and enjoy spring for the next 24 hours.
There you go.
Like that. Thank you, Lisa. It is now 6:54. One man is in jail after police say he led them on a chase in Beltrami County, Minnesota. It happened on Friday. Deputies spotted a car matching the description of a suspicious vehicle they had been looking for east of Bemidji. However, that driver took off when they tried to stop him.
Police say the driver then led them on a 12-mile chase before they used stop sticks to deflate 3 of the vehicle's tires. A 54-year-old man was arrested for driving while impaired and fleeing a scene. A former high-profile Republican donor in the state of Minnesota goes on trial tomorrow for allegedly sex trafficking minors. Tony Lazzaro is accused of luring vulnerable teenage girls with cash, liquor, and gifts for sex acts. He denies the sex trafficking allegations and says the government is targeting him for political reasons and because of his, quote, wealth.
His indictment touched off a political firestorm that led to the downfall of Jennifer Carnahan as chair of the Republican Party of Minnesota. Co-defendant Gisela Medina pleaded guilty to 2 counts last year and is expected to testify against Lazaro. Chinese President Xi Jinping will meet with Russian President Vladimir Putin in Moscow today as China aspires for a more dominant role on the world stage. On his first overseas trip since confirming his 3rd term as president, Xi's visit will gain added scrutiny after the International Criminal Court issued an arrest warrant for Putin for war crimes.
China's growing relations with the Kremlin have the U.S. now worried that Beijing may consider providing Russia with lethal weapons as well. Russian President Vladimir Putin made 2 unannounced trips over the weekend to Russian-occupied areas in Ukraine. He first traveled to Crimea on Saturday to mark the 9th anniversary of the Black Sea Peninsula's annexation from Ukraine, then made a first-time visit to the illegally annexed port city of Mariupol.
The trips come days after the International Criminal Court, as we mentioned, issued a warrant for Putin, accusing him of committing those war crimes, the unlawful abduction with the deportation of children from Ukraine to Russia. In our consumer alert this morning, Ford is recalling more than 1.2 million vehicles because of potentially faulty brakes. The recall includes Fusion and Lincoln MKZ models from the years 2013 through 2017, along with a few 2018 models. The National Highway Traffic Safety Administration says the brake hoses can leak fluid, making it harder for the vehicles to stop.
Ford has not heard of any crashes with injuries, but says it's a good idea to swap out the brake fluid hoses in all vehicles that have them, and you can have it done for free by visiting a Ford dealership. You can also enter your car's VIN number on the NHTSA website to check if it is part of this broad recall. Well, we see water main breaks all the time, but this one in Cleveland turned into something much bigger.
Police say a few hours after the break was reported yesterday, a large portion of the intersection just collapsed. You see it right there. That area now blocked off. City crews are working to isolate the damage from that break. Drecker Brewing's Brewhalla is now open, bringing excitement for many people in the metro area, especially for some small business owners.
There are 14 local businesses that are now getting the opportunity to spread their brand. The place was packed on opening day on Saturday, which means a lot to these businesses, especially after having to deal with the COVID-19 pandemic, inflation, and other adversities that small businesses seemingly face. Former longtime Minnesota Viking Adam Thielen has now signed a 3-year deal with the Carolina Panthers, the first time the Detroit Lakes native will ever suit up for a non-Minnesota team.
Yeah, we know a lot of Minnesota Viking fans are sad about this one. Thielen played at Detroit Lakes High School before his Minnesota State Mankato days. He is 3rd all-time on the Vikings' all-time receptions and touchdowns and 4th in receiving yards after his 10 seasons in the Twin Cities. He did get cut before the June 1st deadline, though, to avoid a salary cap hit. He and his family say that they will always love Minnesota, though. A herd of elk in Utah is abandoning their snow-covered mountains for a tasty golf course in Parley's Canyon. Talk about a hole-in-one. As many as 120 elk have been living on the golf course now for about a month. However, state wildlife officials have decided it's time they gotta go.
Well, hey, elk need a spring break too.
Yeah.
The plan today, listen to this, is to shut down a busy nearby interstate. It's Interstate 80. And what they're doing is using a human chain to force them off the golf course across that highway and back into the mountains. Emergency personnel say they will be standing by to keep the elk from heading in the wrong direction.
I say you don't need that. You just need some cowboys go in there and rustle it all up and get these
Calling the
animals back
Wranglers.
home.
We need the professionals.
Well, the Today Show and CBS Mornings are just about to start, but the Valley Today rolls on the Fargo CW.
Yeah, more live up-to-the-minute news and weather coming up right here on the Fargo CW. In the meantime, enjoy our first day of spring and bundle up.
Yeah, what's supposed to be spring anyway.
Yeah.
We'll see you back here tomorrow morning.
Take care, everybody.